staying power at Merlot so we can look at it?
Yeah, she takes her clothes off all the time. I just wait for this season. I do think working in Merlot's as a waitress is probably the most dangerous job. Yeah, well, there's a high turnover, so you're definitely going to see some more new waitresses. Whether or not they survive or get naked, we'll see.
My name is Jessica, and I'm sorry, I'm getting nervous. Butterflies in my stomach just seeing you guys.
Butterflies too.
First of all, I just wanted to thank all of the women up there for being such a strong role model for me, because I'm an aspiring actress myself, and all of you, I watch and take as much in as possible from your performances, which are great. And if I could ask one question, but I can't, I would ask if Alexander could give me a hug. But I'm going to ask you that. But I wanted to ask, how was the audition process for this show? Was it difficult or scary, or how did it go for you?
Where's your waitress?
I was working on a show called Generation Kill in Mozambique. So I was in Maputo, and a friend, I put myself on tape and sent it to Alan from Maputo. That's how it started.
Did you just say Maputo? What is that?
You can say Maputo here.
Really? I don't think so. It says here there are going to be people under 18 here.
Oh, shit. Oh. The capital of Mozambique is not shit, it's Maputo.
Well, my audition was, I went in and there was there was sort of a compilation of some great one-liners. And my manager, his job is to get these appointments for me, so he's always very excited to tell me how big it's going to be and who's in the room, and I'm like, la, 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 la. I don't want to hear it because I still have to go get the job. So I heard HBO, I was in Alan Ball, oh my God, and then Vampires. And so I went in and I channeled my most harsh self. And then, it's put on tape. And then a few weeks later they called and said they want you to come back and do it again. And I'm like, why? Why can't it's on tape? Because if they're calling you back in, you did something right. And you could mess it up. So I went back in and tried to do the same thing again. And apparently I did something right, thank the Lord. And went off to do something in the Philippines and got a text. So it was pretty great. Worked out fine.
I believe in my audition, my last audition, I slightly cracked open my leg and thrusted my crotch at Alan. I think
That's something you should remember about if you want to be an actress.
I don't know how this one go over.
I jumped through a lot of hoops. I auditioned originally for a different character, and then they called me back for this guy, and then it was almost like a month-long process where I was jumping through hoops, just sort of waiting around and not knowing what was going on. And I guess they narrowed it down to like 5 guys or 6 guys, and we had a chemistry read, meaning we all read with Nelson, and I won.
My death scene and then my waking up as a vampire scene, which was all kind of crazy. So I remember going into that room and lying on the floor and rolling around and eating my tears and screaming at the top of my lungs and just feeling kind of like a fool. But I guess it worked. So that's good.
I believe I was to the first audition, or at least part of that first round of auditions. Yeah. And it's the usual thing. You go in, you try to do your best, and you don't really know, and then you get this sort of call out. I'm sure everyone remembers exactly where they were when they got that call. I still know where I was, and just standing in sort of my bare bones kind of bed-sitter apartment, and yeah, it was a really sort of auspicious moment, auspicious time, and now 5 years later, to think that little call has now transcended into this phenomenon. It's kind of crazy. Good.
I think I had to do the Super Saver Bunch scene. And I remember I was in New York, and I remember I brought in an apron and a rag, and I was really into it. I was dressing up for the part. And I remember I was pulling out of a Starbucks when I got the call, and I actually almost ran into somebody because I literally started crying because they were like, "Hey, you got the part," and I was like, "What?" And then I just pulled back in and just kind of lost it because when you get to do what you love to do and what you've dreamed about since you were a kid, it's amazing. And I never would have thought it would be as big as it is now. So I'm very thankful to you, Alan, for giving me the opportunity and for working with you guys. It's been great.
There's a few times you get the opportunity to, your agent asks you to put yourself on tape, and it's the one time in a way that you get the chance to put across something without having to be in the room and that nervousness of being in the room and doing it. And I'd read the script the night before, and as soon as I found out it was Alan, I put myself on tape the next morning, and then I just moved apartments, and I moved to this new place, and I put myself on tape, and I got home, I picked up my kids from school, and I got back to the house, and I'd been burgled, or burglarized, as you guys say. And I realized very quickly that my computer and all my cameras and everything that I owned would have been gone. And, footage of the children growing up, all of that stuff. And I noticed some glass on the floor, and the kids hadn't really worked out what was going on, and I was trying to be strong for them. And I sat them down and I said, look, this is what's happened. This is, someone's come into the house through the window and they've stolen everything. And my little boy ran into the bedroom and looked onto his bed and he went, Dad, they didn't get Teddy. And I went, come here. And I sort of slid down the wall, holding them both. I've got you two. And I got them to sleep. And literally, my manager rang and said they want to fly you to LA in the morning. And so it was a really interesting kind of thing from those moments of low to incredibly high. And the next day I got there and I walked into Alan's office and I met Anna for the first time. And it's been all right.
I stalked Alan until he said yes.
especially, I feel like the more you want something, the longer that process feels, even if in reality it maybe was only a few months, but it felt like endless amounts. I was like, okay, I'll come back to stare in my head by this food. What would you like me to do? And, you know, I just really wanted it. And I'm always incredibly grateful that Alan had the imagination to see that what walked in the door wasn't necessarily what was written on the page, but you know, he was able to see it in the performance, not just the aesthetics of the pasty pale brunette from New Zealand. I'm incredibly grateful.
That $20 million you gave me didn't hurt.
We don't talk about it anymore, though.
Well, thank you guys all for coming, but yeah, on behalf of all of us, we want to thank you guys because you're the ones that waited in line and you stayed and you're great, so thanks so much.
The cast and creator of True Blood.